the list is probably substantial, or may appear to be substantial on the placard list, I will say. Not all of the units or buildings that are placarded would necessarily fall under, they don't necessarily fall under the abandoned, term, and they may not be condemned. I think from a practical standpoint, condemned and placarded may mean the same to some people. I mean, we can get into a building that has multiple units and find some code violations in a certain unit, so we could placard that certain unit as unfit for human habitation.
When I first moved here, it was really great. Besides, there was the stairs were a little messed up, and other than that, it was great. There was a salon downstairs, my mom's salon, and Dick's Taxi was below us, and my neighbor. So it was all good. We all lived here, everything was fine. And then it just slowly got worse and worse and worse over time. So the code inspector failed it, and then he came back in and he passed it. But it took a lot of work before Marcel, my landlord, had to do before it was passed. There's holes everywhere. I mean, there's mold in some spots of the house that it's just endless.
We're actively working with that property owner to address some of the issues there. There were some egress issues, as I recall, on one of the units upstairs, and he's in the process of working on that. The hair salon moved out, went to another space. I'm not sure if Dick Taxis is still there. Some of these are buildings that have been in foreclosure for a number of years. Landowners, property owners have walked away, just simply walked away, abandoned their buildings. That's the one on 308 Hammond is that.
Yeah.
Bank now owns that. The bank has been working with us and in contact with us to deal with that building, and they're going to hopefully move that property as soon as possible. And this is one that the police have had calls to numerous times.
We've been there 3 times in the last 3 months. June, there was a burglary of copper piping. Oil siphoned from the tank, from the number 2 oil from the heating tank. So they were just taking what they can get when they know it's abandoned or placarded, and they'll break in and do those sorts of things. July, we had unknown people trying to gain access. I think they took the boards down from the windows, tried to get in, and they'll do that sort of thing. Go in, squatters or what have you, and just go in and see what they can take, see what's left over.
I've been inside when tenants were still here when we ended up placarding it, interior the building is in nice shape. Obviously the plumbing and all the copper's been chopped out of it, but I even believe some of the old radiators were taken. But outside of that, structurally it's sound. It's got neat interior woodwork. It's still a neat building, interior-wise. Back in the day when people were chopping up buildings into putting in as many units as possible, that's why you get what you've got.
Just been curious about what's happened with it.
There's a foreclosure, so that process is a long process. Mm-hmm. So, but they're maintaining it. I mean, they keep it secure. They're mowing, obviously. Mm-hmm. How often do they mowing? Do you know? Copper was chopped out of this one too, and it was in really rough shape. I mean, you can tell that there were people squatting in there or what. But we reached out to the bank and sent the notice. It was that far along in the process, so we knew who to contact. And they hired a property maintenance company to come in. You can tell, I know it's not perfectly mowed, but it's mowed. And this would be one that I would consider a dangerous building. Hard to see it now, but the foundation, this whole wall is collapsed. What we want is compliance. So we don't like the process of going through court, take court action. We got to bring a lawsuit against someone and take it to court. That's not where we like to go.